right, so it's okay. We can talk through it. Let's go ahead and talk about first maybe where you started or how you started taking dance, or kind of how old you were, what started you taking dance with the city.
Okay. Gosh, I can. Seems like just yesterday, and since uh, my mom would go. It was during the summer, and every Monday my mom would go downtown to make payments. The utility payments and everything. And there was two sisters, the Andrea sisters, and they were practicing their castanets at the bus stop. And I kept telling my, I want to go learn how to do those. I want to learn how to click those things. And at the time, I have a speech defect and I was very pigeon toe. And the doctor had recommended that she take me to like ballet classes, so that way the pigeon toe will learn to turn out, and they felt that will help a whole lot. And the alternative was back then they would put these big brown shoes with these steel braces on you, to help you turn out. And so we didn't want that, and so mom got to talking to the girls to find out where they were going for their classes, and they were going to John Tobin Recreation Center. We lived on Martin Street, so actually all we had to do was get on the bus and go straight down Martin and get off the bus, because it was just down, about maybe 2 miles down from our house. So we went and investigated, and the classes were free and everything. So we joined up with Marie Shale was the coach there at the center, and so we joined up and started taking tap and ballet classes. And then later on, we actually had more interest in the Spanish and Mexican folklore classes. So we got involved in both different dance programs. So, and at the time, Yolanda Almaguer, was Yolanda Jensen now, was the instructor, and Berta Almaguer was the piano. She was our music, because back then we didn't really have the versatility of records or cassettes or tapes or anything. So each center actually had their own piano, and Bertita would play the music while Yolanda would teach the dance classes. So it was really, a fun activity. And then we got involved in John Tobin. Marie Shea was a really great coach. She had all kinds of different arts and crafts programs, and talent shows. The Miss Recreation pageant was held. And so we got involved in all the different activities that the center offered. So, and then
And if you don't mind me asking, about what years were this?
that was about 1955. So, give me my age here. Thanks a lot. So, it was about 1955 when we started with the Parks and Recreation. I was about 6, and my sister was 3. So, we started the program then, and we just kept on taking the classes. And at that time, as Yolanda would move around, or my tap and ballet instructor at that time was Julie Lopez. And as we advanced, we went to different centers, such as, what's the Berta Almaguer Center now, which back then was a Woodlawn Activity Building. And actually, Phyllis Alvarez was the coach there. And it was the fun thing there to play was volleyball, because we used to play in the parking lot, and the idea was to be able to spike the ball and get up over the roof, because it would end up down in the lake, and then we could go get the canoe to go out there and get the ball. So it was a lot of fun participating at the Woodlawn Activity Center, besides taking the dance classes there. But that was our main facility for especially once you got into the advanced classes, that was our main site for advanced classes. So, and then, 60, let's see, 55, I guess it was in 1960, we moved to California. And we lived out there for a year, and during that year we took classes from different instructors. Our main instructor was Vicente Avio, and he was from Spain, and so we took classes from him while we were there. In fact, it was kind of neat that we had the Christmas contracts for the different bases. So we traveled from California back to San Antonio to do all the Christmas shows. So that was kind of neat and got paid for, which was really great. So we got to come back during Christmas with Vicente to do the tour of the bases here in San Antonio for all the Christmas shows. And then in 1968, graduated from Fox Tech, and I started teaching with the Parks and Recreation. I actually started as a summer program, and because I had just graduated from high school, and I had applied with Southwestern Bell and the post office, and I hadn't heard from any of them at the time, and heard about this summer position as a dance instructor. So I went in to Brackenridge Park, where the main office was, and put in my application, and I was hired for the summer. And so I worked the summer, and we had 10 different sites to go to, and it was 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, 2-hour long classes. And at that time we were allowed one number in the summer program. And so I had over 300 students for a one number, which was supposed to be 3 minutes. But I connived and actually taped it for 7 minutes, and had each different sites, got all 10 sites together and divided them by 6. And each site had different color of costumes. They were all the same design costume, but they were different colors. So one group would come in 1 minute and perform and go off. The next group would come in 1 minute and perform and go off. And the idea of the different colored costumes was so that the parents knew their group, and their children that came in, they could recognize them by the color of the costume. And at the very end, I brought all of them out, and they all performed. And the program was held at the Municipal Auditorium. So with 300 students plus, there was no way they all fit on the stage, but each group had a chance to come out and do a little bit on their own. And so Monday morning sharp, we had to go into the office to turn in our equipment and everything. And as I was walking down the hallway, Miss Hamilton said, I haven't gotten a phone call. And I turned around, I looked at her, I said, excuse me? She says, Mary, I haven't received one single phone call from the parents. And I was totally puzzled. And I go, why would you receive phone calls from the parents? He says, well, basically you're a summer instructor. You had over 300 students in your number. You only have one number. It says, but the way you choreograph your number and everything, the parents were happy. So we feel, I feel that you deserve to work for us. He says, would you like a full-time position? He says, I want you to continue with us. It says, because anybody can pull that off. It says, needs to work for us and continue to work for us. And I'm going like, sure, So because dancing was my first love, so teaching, was part of that. So that's how I actually got my full-time job, is through the summer job. So I started September of '68 as a full-time instructor, and taught for the next 13 years as a dance instructor. And basically I taught Spanish and Mexican and international folk dancing. And then after that I worked about 6 months in the main office, and then I went to Commander's House as a senior program. But we kept on with the dancing there because we had our own dance program at the center, so we continued to keep dancing. So which is fun.
So dance really brought you into your career.
Yes, it sure did. So dancing has been my career. In 1968, we also perform at the World's Fair, at the Hemisphere. Uh, at that time, besides working with Parks and Recreation, I had a private dance group, and they performed at the Hemisphere under the direction of Mayer Moreno. And we were there from day one to the end of the day. And the fun part about dancing down at the Hemisphere was on a day off, we went down to Hemisphere to see everything that we didn't get to see while we were working, or enjoy the activities and the fun that the fair offered. So that was a very good experience, was the Hemisphere and the dancing.
And where did y'all dance at the Hemisphere?
We actually, believe it or not, we had a portable stage on kind of like a little golf cart, and the back opened up into a stage, and we would open that up and perform on that, or we actually perform on the gravel, and we were actually the crowd control. When we saw that there was too many people on one side of the fair, we would perform on the opposite side to start drawing the crowd over, so we could disperse the crowd and keep it spread out so they won't be just all packed in one section. If there was a particular area, say like in the Philippine section that they had, it was empty, we would go perform in the Philippine section. So that way the crowd would come around and visit the different activities that was there in that section. So in the different sections, say if the food courts might have been empty, we would go and perform at the food courts, and that would draw the people in and then purchase the food. So we were actually kind of used as a crowd control. And I mean, it kind of sounds, you know, I guess you could say ridiculous in a sense, but it worked perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it was a perfect way to disperse of the crowds, you know, spread them out, and perform, you know. So it was a lot of fun. So we were doing what we enjoyed doing, is dancing.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the classes when you were taking them with Berta Almaguer and Yolanda Almaguer at the time, Yolanda Jensen. Maybe kind of just describe, if you could, like a typical class, like what would happen, like how many people were in there, and what she would play piano. So how were they as teachers? How was Yolanda and Berta?
Oh,
Just describe a typical class.
describe typical class. Okay. The class, actually, Yolanda, you did not, since it was recreation, the class was not, say, studio type of a class, you know, where you just went in and you perform, you know, certain numbers, that same number over and over again. We always have variety of numbers to perform. Yolanda was, oh gosh, she danced so beautiful and had such talent and such grace that as in her older or advanced students would perform numbers, and the footwork and was just so intricate and everything that it was always a dream that you could get to that point. You wanted to dance as they dance. And Yolanda, if I'm not mistaken, was performing also at Fiesta Noche de Rio. And so we would go see those shows and watch Fiesta Noche and wonder, could I ever get to that point? So you always had a dream or a goal in your classes. And for me, it was to break out of the shyness because of the speech defect, and then the being pigeon-toed, learning to walk without falling and stuff like that. So it was not just an activity, it was more almost like a health program in a sense, as they would refer to it now. You know, because it did help me. I was so shy, you know, that you would say hello and I would hide, and now you can't keep me quiet. You know, I'm doing the taping, you know. I overcome the speech defect. There's words that I cannot pronounce, you know, clearly, but the dance program gave me that self-confidence to overcome that, you know, and to move forward. So the programs, the dance program and the programs in general, uh, actually is an aid to the youth, you know. We don't realize how we touch every single youth that comes into our program, whether it's in the athletic program or the dance program. But we, Yolanda and Berta did make a big difference in my life. So they gave me a goal, a dream, a career, and being a student, and then from a student to a teacher, and now after 40 years with the department, I'm retired and still enjoying life. So, and still attending some exercise dance programs. So it's nice to have been, to start off as a participant, been an employee, and back as a participant. So it's to me very unique and very enjoyable. So the classes, they were strict, you know, but in a way that it was fun. You enjoyed, you look forward going to the classes. You learned different variety of classes, because Yolanda even 1 year taught a Hawaiian dance. So the dances that we learned always geared towards the summer program and the theme of the summer program. So, you know, she taught the castanets, the footwork, how to stand properly, proper posture. So, but you never knew that's what you were learning, because the classes were very enjoyable.
And so, one last question. Do you think that it's important for others who haven't been involved in the program to know what an impact that the dance program and all the recreation programs have had on San Antonio citizens?
Not just the participants, but the employees themselves need to realize how they do make a difference in a child's life or a teenager's life, you know. There are so many programs out there for mentors, big brothers, big sisters, and everything. But yet, I don't think, with the 40 years I have with Parks and Recreation as an employee, I don't think we realize the difference we do make in a person's life, whether it's a child or a senior. We have so much to offer, and they have so much to offer. There is so much that we can learn from the youth and from the seniors. That's there if we just take the time and actually just listen, you know, because the participants will tell us what type of programs they want, or what is it that they like or don't like, you know. And if we take the time and listen, we can make those changes, and together we can offer the world, you know. There's nothing that cannot be offered or achieved through the program, through Parks and Recreation. And for me, myself, for somebody that was very shy with a speech defect, major, oops, I just lost the word, being pigeon-toed and everything, to turn around and perform in several groups. My sister also had her own dance group. We both had dance groups. She had two major dance groups. The last one was Ballet Folklorico Mexico España. And we performed everywhere. My son turned around, my oldest son turned around and participated with Parks and Recreation. And through Parks and Recreation, he was able to go to Germany as an exchange student. He went to Yucatan. He went to several different parts of Mexico where they perform on an exchange program. So it offers, you know, gosh, it's incredible what the program offers as far as learning process, how to deal with people, how to recognize the different type of people that might be in the crowd and everything. So it's a great learning process through the program, whether it's the arts program or athletics or dance. So it's Parks and Recreation has been a program that has made major changes in people's lives, and will continue to make major changes in people's life and offer them a better life. So,
Well, thank you. And then and maybe just say your name and then kind of what your title was that you retired from.
okay, my name is, well, when I started with the program, it was Mary Duke, and of course I got married, had 3 children, and it's Mary Guzman. And I ended up at the commander's house as the center director. And I was there for 27 years, I believe, and worked with the Department of Park and Recreation from 1968 to 2008 for 40 years, and it's been fun, and I've totally enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Great. We got it.